Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of when they went beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, their firms, and their clients. And let's applaud lawyers who care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Giselle Girones. She's an attorney at Shullman Fugate in Miami, Florida. And Giselle represents clients in matters involving content, IP, defamation, privacy, and First Amendment law. Welcome, Giselle.
Thank you for having me.
So, Giselle, it took us like 3 times for me to get your last name correct. So share with us what brought you to the law.
Sure. So I was originally interested in being a journalist. And so when I started undergrad, I actually worked for the college paper, realized that I enjoyed it, but wasn't sure that's where I wanted to go with my career. And so I sort of shifted into media PR and worked with my school's football team and sort of getting the PR matters out ahead of games and interviewing players and whatnot. And then I worked for a well-known music label. And so I always had a tie to the entertainment field. But I knew I wanted to do more. And so I discovered this area of the law, which sort of seemed to meld entertainment, media, journalism with law, which was really interesting. And I've been really grateful that I'm able to practice in this field.
And so other than the tie here between all those components, the list of IP, defamation, privacy, they are all intertwined. How does that happen for you professionally, and how does that inform, your firm's process?
Yeah, I think our primary goal at the firm is to protect content, right? And that's it's all type of content from all type of content creators, whether you're a news organization, a filmmaker, or a blogger, or an artist. I think all of those fields tying together. If we're in litigation, of course, a lot of these claims might come up, but also when we're doing a pre-publication or pre-broadcast review. That is a lot of the issues we're looking for and advising clients on before things get published, so we can try to mitigate those risks, or at least take smart risks when making sure clients can tell the story or publish the content they want to publish while still being safe about it.
And what silly mistakes do you find folks have done, and then they come to you and they say, Giselle, please fix this?
Yeah, I think copyright is a big one, right? So a lot of times, especially if you're dealing with newer filmmakers or maybe a smaller production company that hasn't had as much experience, of course, individuals as well, but taking content online, right, or saying, well, I found it on Instagram and the account is public, or I found it on Google, and then they just credit it and think that's sufficient, and of course it's not. And I'd say another area is, thinking that because you're not naming someone, that you can get away with saying certain things that might be seen as defamatory or might cross into the realm of privacy issues, because there are other considerations sometimes you don't think to look at, like, well, you're not naming them, but are you identifying where they work, or what city they're in, who their family members or friends are? That might be enough just to identify the person under the law. So I would say those are sort of the ones we see a lot.
And can you give us a good case story without going into details?
Yeah, I think it's hard to pick one. There's so many I think I enjoy, but to me it's always rewarding to be able to be involved in the process. So whether we're dealing with like a true crime type of documentary, and it's an older case, and so we step in to try to get the client help with getting access to a lot of those records and finding what agencies they can go to, who they can go ask for records or more information about, and then seeing how that all comes together, whether it's obtaining those records or licensing the material. And then you get to see you've already watched it, but you get to see your work on some of these platforms, and it's really rewarding.
Mm. So before we wrap up then, Giselle, if you could leave our listeners with one takeaway, with them prior to getting to your office and knowing that there could be some either novice mistakes or not so innocent mistakes, what would you counsel? Knowing that it's not for any, particular, this is not legal advice. It's just,
Right, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I would say, sometimes people look things up online and rely on sort of what's out there or what they might find on Google or some of these AI platforms. But I would say it's always a good idea to touch base with a lawyer and see if it's some kind of content that you might need help with. A lot of the times there are issues that, unless you're practicing in this field, you don't really they're not easily foreseeable. And so it's always a good idea to make sure you're touching base with a lawyer so that all of this hard work you're putting into your content doesn't get, tainted by a lawsuit or a cease and desist.
Interesting. Well, that's good advice for those watching. By the way, my guest today, Giselle Girones of Shullman Fugate in Miami, Florida. Giselle, can you provide our audience with your contact information?
Sure. My email address is ggirones, and it's how it's spelled on the screen here, at shullmanfugate.com. And my phone number is 954-329-2937.
Wonderful. This has been the Lawyers Who Care video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And if you're an attorney or know one who does go above and beyond, feel free to reach out to us, 914-666-6600. And Giselle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.